Hola, ¿cómo estás? Ursula here from Simply Cuba Tours, and today I want to be discussing the best time to go to Cuba. So ideally, you want to go in the dry season. And when is the dry season? So Cuba is a tropical island and it has two distinctive seasons. You've got the dry season from around November to May, and then the wet season obviously in between from May to the end of October. Now, in saying that, it can be quite pleasant most of the time. The difference is that in the wet season it will get rather humid, something that I personally quite enjoy. I tell everyone it gives you beautiful skin rather than the dry air, but some people really cannot stand it. It is, if you have maybe asthma or something like that, it can make it hard to breathe and that sort of thing. So obviously just take in consideration what season works for you. In saying that as well, obviously the dry season is the busy season. So if you are thinking of coming around, especially November to January, it is quite a busy time. So if you're thinking about traveling in that time, you want to make sure that you book ahead to ensure that you get the guide, the accommodation and the services available for your stay. The other consideration, obviously, around holidays, school holidays, the flight cost will also increase as well. So again, December, January, obviously, is the period where flight costs can be increased because more people are traveling due to the Christmas holidays, or in Australia that's our school holidays, so that can add substantial cost to your travel. The other reason you might want to be considering certain time of the year is if you are into certain activities. Say for example, if you want to be looking at birding, if you enjoy birding and want to see most of the birds around, definitely come in the spring season, which is around February, March and April, or in September. So or even in between, but that's that's the period where most of the birds are around. Obviously the winter migration happens at the end of autumn, so those birds will be wintering down in Cuba, which gives you a lot more to see at that time. In saying that, obviously the endemics are around at any time of the year, so if they are your main focus when you're traveling, obviously any time of the year. Just in the wet season you might get a bit more mud on your shoes when we're going around and looking at the areas, finding the birds. Diving, again, it is something that you can do all year around. However, if you'd like to do the underwater photography, visibility is a lot better. In the dry season you have a lot less cloudy days, which gives a lot more opportunity to capture beautiful photos and images, videos underwater. In saying that, we also don't run our diving tour. That's not to say you can't dive, but we don't run any sort of diving between August and November. And the reason for that being is that's because most of the cyclones historically tend to come around at that time. So we don't want to be in a position where, we promise you great diving and unfortunately due to cyclone, we might have to cancel it. So when is the good time to come to Cuba? It really comes down to what you'd like to be doing, what you'd like to be enjoying when you're visiting us, and whether or not you enjoy the humidity and the wet season. Oh, one thing I forgot to say, that in the wet season, it's not like it's raining all the time. You might just end up with, your afternoon rains tends to come in the afternoon. After a build up in the morning, in the afternoon, you might have an hour or even less where it will rain and then it settles down again and then you're good to go again. I actually think it makes it for a perfect time for a siesta in the afternoon before you continue your discovery or sipping on that mojito. So back to it, the best time to come, it really comes down to what you'd like to enjoy doing the most when you're visiting us.